So when we are working on the workday path, as today we are going to discuss about multi-country HR processing as well as the regional regulation software. From a BA perspective, whenever we are working on the workday platform, which is the prominent human capital management application, multi-currency HR process and regional regulation workflow is important because whenever we are working on for global client, global process blueprint and discovery is the first phase. Where here we try to understand as well as mapping the core HR processes, what are the global standards we have, etc. Everything has to be mapped here. Second, we need to identify the multi-currency areas, whatever we have, etc. Followed by this, we need to gather the local stakeholder input, whether it can be internal or external stakeholders. Those information has to be gathered in this area. So these are the basic things. First of all, we must be knowing and we must be familiar. This is what something that we have to do. It has to be performed whenever we are working on the first phase. Understanding over the global process and blueprint discovery is important. Second, we'll be going with the regional regulatory analysis, where we have to provide research and analyze regional country-specific laws. Either it can be GDPR law or it can be APSC codes or something that we must be well versed with. That is the second thing. Because as a BA, understanding over the regulatory standards, policies, and procedures are one of the key and important things to be understood. Third, about identifying the compliance gaps, whatever the required compliance gaps we have, that are to be identified here, including any documentary statutory requirements, etc. Everything has to be identified. So, second, about regional regulatory analysis, what we have to be performed and how this can be performed is something that we must be good with. Third, about localization and adaptation. Localization adaptation, majorly we need to interact with the architecting because we have to be involved with architecting, wherein we need to design the localized workflows, whatever is required. Either it can be high level or low level designs, etc. Everything has to be understood here. Including the, as a technical BA role, majorly we need to work on the configuration system rules. These rules can vary from organization to organization. Business rules can vary. So we need to configure the system rules for different regions, whatever we are working with. Along with this, we need to even work with country-specific reporting also, so that the developmental team we have to work with. Then at the same time, we need to involve in the integration, local best practices, whatever is required. Everything has to be done under the localization adaptation stance. Fourth, about the multi-currency deployment and compliances, wherein here we need to execute different global rollouts. At the same time, we must also ensure consistent compliance monitoring. And followed by this, we need to manage ongoing regulatory changes, facilitating regional HR operations. Everything has to be performed under the multi-currency deployment compliance acceptance. So these are the four things. The first one about the global process blueprint discovery is the first one. Second, we need to involve in the regional regulatory analysis as a GA that we need to work with. Third, we have to involve with the technical team, architect team to understand about localization adaptations by understanding and designing the localized workflows, etc. Last but not least, we need to work on multi-currency deployment compliances, where we have to support executive team that to ensure the global rollouts, whatever is required. Must also ensure whatever the compliance monitoring and as well as managing ongoing regulatory changes, all these. So these are the four general levels that we have to perform. So whenever there is any HR implementation, system implementation we have to do, or we want to configure the implementation this platform. So as a BA, we need to work on. So any multi-country HR processes or any kind of regional workflows, these are the things we have to be focused on.